Hello there, thanks a lot for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and this is JB from 1964. You know, if there was ever a year in his whole career to see James Brown live in concert, it had to be 1964 if you had to pick one. Of course, he was great his whole career, but there's three really solid pieces of evidence why 64, and here we are right in the middle of it, in July, was just the absolute peak year to see the Godfather of Soul in concert. First of all, you got the legendary Live at the Apollo album, which is plugged right here at the top of the poster in the upper right there. That had been released the previous summer, and it was far and away the biggest selling album of his career. Number 2 on the pop music chart, it eventually wound up in the Grammy Hall of Fame. And then in the 21st century, a couple of generations later, Rolling Stone magazine compiled, they love to do articles, the 500 greatest albums of all time. Well, 2 different times, a decade apart. Boy, this album, which again is right up there in the upper right-hand corner, finished in the top 25 out of the top 500 albums of all time. And that's up against releases by the Beatles and the Stones and Hendrix and Stevie Wonder and Dylan and Led Zeppelin. So, you just know James was spectacular in concert listening to that record. Well, the second piece of evidence, stay with me here, is that James had only one other top 10 album his whole career, and it was another live album released this year, 64. Wow. Pure Dynamite, Live at the Royal, hit Billboard's LP chart in February, rose to number 10, and was still on the charts at the time of this very show. And then to complete the hat trick, the third element is the famous Tammy Show, which was taped this very fall in 64 and released at theaters in December. Kind of every rock fan's favorite DVD, right? It's just amazing black and white footage of not only James Brown, but the Stones and the Beach Boys, Marvin Gaye, the Supremes, and Chuck Berry, and on, Jan and Dean. Well, the Stones were scheduled to follow James Brown to close the show, and they were warned that maybe they shouldn't. But for whatever reason, the set went on as planned, and Keith Richards of the Stones was later quoted as saying, "Following James Brown was the biggest mistake of our career." That's hilarious. Oh man, James and his famous Flames just turned in an explosive, show-stopping performance that again you can see on DVD and was taped this very year. So obviously this just being a killer time to see the hardest working man in show business. And what a fun, colorful, large advertising piece to get people to open their wallets and buy tickets, right? This is just amazing. It's almost a jumbo, which traditionally is 22 by 28. This is 22 by 27.5. Total vintage piece printed before the show. And look at those dots down the side. Are those unique or what? That's really different. I just love that. And this is a 6-color concert poster. Remarkable, right? You've got the red printing up there in the venue information, like the July 6th, that's red. And then you've got the pink James Brown right there in the middle. And then you've got yellow and green and black and white. And we can credit the Murray poster printing company out of New York City, probably for the design, but definitely for the printing job. So from the top there, as you can see way up there, it does say the James Brown Show, Live at the Apollo. As I've mentioned, obviously they want to, in marketing his tickets, they want to take advantage of that album's tremendous success. And then you've got the tour blank area. Now remember, everything not in red on this poster was printed way ahead of time, and then up there where the red print is was just a white box that initially was left blank. The big show for 64, Fort Worth Casino Ballroom on Jackspur Highway. Monday night, July 6th, admission, which is abbreviated down to just 3 letters, advance $2.50, and at the door $2.75. Information, phone James Clemens. Boy, that's really unusual to have a person's name in there like that, and even more so to not give any kind of phone number. Now, with a tour blank like this, everything in the big color portion, the decisions were made by the home office. The national office by James and his management and booking company. But the venue box up there at the top, all those decisions were made strictly concert to concert by the local promoter. And different promoters had different ideas of what they wanted to put in there to sell tickets. So this one felt that putting in there the big show for '64 was important. And he's got ticket prices but no locations where to buy the tickets. They just give you that guy's name, you know. Well, let's take a quick look with this poster at what a couple of other promoters felt was important to get in that box. My examples are by photographic representation here. So way back in January, half a year ago, in Wichita, Kansas, and sorry this photo is a little bit fuzzy, there's one ticket location given in the smallest print, and the prices are in there as well. But to help sell tickets, the promoter squeezed in two big hits by James, the top 5 Please, 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 and the top 10 Prisoner of Love, right there at the bottom of the venue box. Now 4 months later, moving to Akron, Ohio, and the month of May, take a look at this. This promoter felt it was important to get their own name in the venue box, and so it does say at the top of it, Palladium Recreation Presents. Plus they give not 1 but 4 ticket locations in fine print under the words Monday, May there. And those 4 consist of a newsstand and 3 record stores. Interesting. Now notice in both of these cases the venue box, the information is given in black ink. Whereas this one has the information printed in red, which, you know, some people might say clashes with the pink, but it's all good. And speaking of pink, there he is right there in the center, James Brown, in person, Mr. Dynamite, one of 4 nicknames that he had. And then you've got that song title squeezed in down there. Let me come in on that. New smash hit record, Oh Baby Don't You Weep, Part 1 and Part 2. Well, Part 1 rose to number 23 on the pop charts. Surely would have done much better R&B, but boy, this was the year of the great rip-off for R&B artists because Billboard magazine stopped compiling separate data for the R&B charts for all of 1964. So, you know, for soul music musicians, whatever their record did pop, well, that's all it did for R&B. So what you have there is 1964 was the only year of the 60s in which James had no top 10 pop hit, I should say no top 10 hit of any kind in Billboard, but probably did on a regional basis scattered around the United States. By the way, this song title is also on the May poster that I showed you, but it's not on the January one because it hadn't been released yet. So it's just sort of blank pink right there in January, but remember that poster had the 2 hits up in the venue box. And then in the lower right hand corner you've got the Murray Poster Printing Company. Now since this is a Murray, it'll be really fun here. I actually wanted to show you what another poster designer and printer did with the exact same information and artists and song titles for this exact same tour. Voila! Yeah, look at this. Globe Posters out of Baltimore did the honors for this February stop in Virginia. Same picture of James there in the middle, but no picture of the famous Flames. And the photos, funny enough, of Bobby Bird and Anna King, well, they're simply the full-length versions of what Murray had used, but they cut them in half, you know, to have just the upper half of their body. But here, you get the full-length versions from Globe. That's kind of a cute difference. James has 2 song titles up there, by the way, but all the rest have the exact same song titles as the Murray poster. And on this poster, do note that there's no mention of Live at the Apollo, which for some people is a big selling point. So, both posters are compelling designs, just a matter of picking your favorite. I can easily see that vote being evenly split because, you know, both posters have their own compelling, unique features. But for me, boy, it's awful hard to beat Live at the Apollo being mentioned on this poster. One of the 25 greatest albums ever released, at least according to the editors of Rolling Stone magazine. Well, JB in '64, it gets no better on the R&B tip. And I hope you enjoyed seeing this today. Great fun to show you. Have a good day, and we'll see you again for something soon. Bye-bye.